I'm teaching you today, we're going to talk about how quickly we're recovering. Okay? How long the word is essentially ruminating. And when we talk about ruminating, we think about, I don't know, I guess usually we think about ruminating in a negative sense, I would say. We think about ruminating in you're really sitting and churning on something that has happened and we didn't like it. That's usually what happens when we're ruminating. Now, first I want to talk about why we do it and then how we move out of it, but also why it's important and then the steps to get through it. Why this is a topic of conversation in life, in business. I mean, in life we can get stuck. We can start to thought stack, which means we start to gather evidence to prove what went wrong. And then we start to mount evidence, and then we start to kind of dig ourselves into a hole for why something didn't work, why it's never going to work, and then it starts to become bigger than it actually was. So we take something that started out as small, and then now it's become larger, and now we have all this evidence to disprove why we can be successful. So that's in the business aspect. In a personal aspect, we can ruminate on something and then again mount evidence why something didn't work for us or why we want it to be different, why it needs to change in order for us to feel better. But we can't change the past. And so when we stay and we ruminate on something that we can't actually change, then that's when we can kind of dig ourselves into that hole of depression a lot of times. So why does our brain do this? Well, first and foremost, I want to talk about why it's actually good for a minute, and then we'll talk about why is it useful? Because it is useful in a sense. So when something does happen, what we want to do is be aware of it. We want to acknowledge it. Okay, here's kind of our steps, is we want to acknowledge. We want to acknowledge what's happened, and then we want to be really aware of our thinking. That's it. Just acknowledge and just be aware. And almost part of that awareness is validating the way that you are feeling. One of the reasons why we stay in our cycle of how we're feeling is because we're not actually validating ourselves. We love to tell ourselves, it's fine, everything's great, it's okay. And we don't actually acknowledge and validate the way that we're feeling. And we don't feel it. And when we don't acknowledge, validate, and feel the way that we're feeling, then we can't actually move beyond it. We can't learn from it and move beyond it. So that's a very, very important step in for everyone, is that you acknowledge, validate, and then you feel it. Okay, feeling's going to look different because is it anger, is it joy, is it sadness, is it fear? What is it that it's created for you? So if you go to a listing appointment, the listing appointment doesn't go well, you walk out, you have to be able to acknowledge what happened, be aware of the way that you're feeling, what you're thinking about it, validate that they're valid feelings, the way that you're feeling, and then allow yourself to feel them. But what happens is we're so quick to try to recover. So we have two different camps, okay? You're going to be in one camp or you're in the other camp. One camp loves to stay in the acknowledgement or the rumination pattern. We just love to sit in that camp, pitch our tent, hang out there for a really long time, and we love to replay because we really wish it was different. And we're going to find all the reasons why it wasn't and all the things that are wrong with us. That's camp one. Camp two is you move on so quickly, you did not give yourself that time to actually validate the way that you're feeling, even acknowledge, be aware, and validate the way that you're feeling, that you don't experience those feelings. You don't experience those emotions. So then you just move on so fast, you never had that full experience. Both camps need to come a little bit closer to the middle and have some grace for themselves and go through this process. This is a more emotionally balanced, healthy way to process, because we're not going to stop the negative experiences. That's part of life. But what we do is we become really good at processing them. Now, why is it so good to process this? Why is it so good to experience this? Because you can then learn from it. But we can't learn from it if we're stuck in feeling terrible, or if we move on so fast from it that we don't know what we were supposed to learn. Make sense? Okay? So this is our step one. Then I like to look at what did I learn, or what could I learn from what just happened. Are you a real estate agent and you got in this business to help people, but yet you're trying everything and it's not working, and all you wanted to do was serve people? If you are a heart-centered realtor and you want to have a thriving real estate business, but you're not sure where to go, what to do, and you keep trying all the gadgets and shiny things in different ways, and all you're doing is spending a lot of money and spinning your wheels, then I've got the solution for you. It is the High Profit Agent Fix. Inside the High Profit Agent Fix, it is a complete business plan, start to finish, and everything in between. The words you say, what you do, to have clients flocking to you, staying with you, so you build a repeatable business full of referral clients and repeat clients. That's what everybody wants, so that you stop having to pay for advertising and you start serving, which is what you got in this business to do in the first place. If this sounds like you, then this is a solution. Go to highprofitagentfix.com and sign up today to get the solution to what you really want, which is to serve and to make money and to make the impact that you want and support your family, and do it all from a loving, wonderful, exciting, happy place, because it gets to be joyful. It doesn't get to be frustrating. It actually gets to be joyful. If that's not what you're experiencing, step on up to High Profit Agent Fix, because that's what you get to experience with me in the High Profit Agent Fix. What could I learn from what happened? Now, because you already went through this acknowledge, aware, validate, and feel, there's no self-judgment in this learning phase. There's no, I did it wrong, I should have done it differently. You already went through that. Now you're literally just strictly, what did I learn from it? This helps you so that your turnover is faster, so you get better, so your new version of you, your new iteration of you is better, faster. You're sitting less time in the rumination process. The more you practice this, the more you're like, step up to bat. All right, where's my next rejection? Where's my next challenge? Bring it on, let's go. I know how to do challenge. I know how to do rejection. I know how to do hard things. So in this learning process, you're going to be looking, and then you're going to be reframing. Reframing is much different than ruminating. When we ruminate, what our brain does is it just cycles back and back and back. It's like replaying an old movie film. And then you rewatch the movie film over and over and over and over again. But what your brain is looking for is some sort of way to interrupt what had happened to change the outcome. But we all know you can't change the outcome. But we really want to. And the only reason why we want to change the outcome is because we don't like the way that we feel. So if we change the outcome, it changes the way that we feel. That's why our brain does that. It feels terrible, doesn't feel good. Let's change the outcome. It will fix the way that I feel. But when we make it through this process here, if you are aware and you validate the way that you feel and you feel those emotions, you no longer need to stay in the loop of trying to change the movie film, because you don't need to change what happened. Okay? So then now you're just learning and looking and then reframing to see, okay, what happened? Maybe how could I have done something differently? How will I do it different next time? So this reframing is more of the next time. Ruminating is last time. Reframing is next time. Reframing is it's actually the moving forward. What strengths do I have now? What came out of this? How did I grow? What was my growth from this experience? We're always going to have growth. But oddly enough, we can't have growth if we're trying to replay and just change the experience. Because that is actually a victim mentality, which means something happened to you and you don't like that it happened to you and you need to change that it happened to you. That puts you in victim energy. That's not boss energy. So boss energy says, okay, how did I grow? What was the experience? Now what's next? What's coming up? And then to move yourself forward, okay, once you get to this step, you see this below here? The next step is literally just, what is your next right step? Just one. What is your next right step? All you ever need to know is not your 10-year plan or your 5-year plan or your 1-week plan. You don't even need to know your 1-week plan. You really don't. You need to know, what is your next right step? That's all. What are you doing now? And I know with all of the let's plan and let's have all these, I don't know, it's way too much planning happening. I know there's a time and place for that, but there's also a time and place for action. And we get so stuck in, we need to have our life planned out, that then we stop movement. We get stuck in planning phase, not movement. So we're going to plan to be amazing, but we're never taking the steps to actually get there. Is a big problem. It's a big problem if we do that. Okay? So, just one next right step. Okay? All right. And then, as you're doing that, to help anchor you, you add in gratitude and how you're growing. Acknowledge what you're grateful for. Acknowledge where you've come to. That's your fourth. Is gratitude. And growth, more growth. Because that's what's happening. You are going to grow. But that's your anchor that you have. Is every step of the way, and it doesn't have to be a lot of gratitude, a little bit of gratitude. And sometimes when we are rejected, right, we look at it as rejection, but it's an experience. That's part of the reframing. I was rejected. I wasn't chosen. I went to 5 listing appointments and I didn't get any of them. Great. That can feel terrible. And then if you sit and you ruminate on that for too long, that will put you into non-action. And if you go into non-action, you will never be successful. You will never make it out. You will never make it out. You will go find another job. It's a non-winning scenario. You will just spiral down, right? I'm seeing some It's a non-winning scenario. Okay, so just acknowledge that. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel that way. I need to hear you, have you hear me say that. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel that way, especially right there in the beginning. But acknowledge it, be aware of it, feel it, validate it, feel it. Yes, but you don't have to pitch your tent in the camp. Okay? Don't stay there for too long. And be really aware of how long you're staying in the camp. Stay in the camp for a little bit. But don't allow yourself to stay there for so long. Be really aware of what your brain is doing. And is your brain going into the reframing, learning? Is it letting you validate, feel? What's happening? Maybe do some journaling, do some walking if you're working through something like that. This works really well. This framework works really well with every challenge that you've got, whether it's business, whether it's life, whether it's with your spouse, whether it's with your kids, whether it's with a listing, a buyer, freaking out because you don't have a paycheck, market's crashing, we're going into recession. Right. All those things. Works for all those things. Hey, real estate agents, start your week with Momentum. Momentum Monday is your free 30-minute power session to ignite your week, sharpen your focus, and elevate your results. Every Monday, you can join a community of high-performing agents who refuse to coast and choose to lead with intention. In just 30 minutes, you will set crystal clear intentions to dominate your week, and you'll learn high-energy strategies that create immediate wins for you. This is not another meeting, it's an intentional strategy session to refocus, recharge, and reignite your drive before the week runs away from you. Whether you're closing deals, generating new leads, or scaling your business, Momentum Monday gives you the clarity, confidence, and community to make it happen. Shake it up. Do something new. Start your Monday with Momentum. Click below to join for free and experience the results for yourself. I'll see you on the inside.